welcome to our first ACT Midwest chapter-wide call for calendar year 2021. The board and I are very excited to see everyone, chat, and really kick off this year with a lot of fun events. So with that, we got a pretty packed agenda. We're going to kick off with introductions. I do want to emphasize quick and brief introductions because I do think we've got 31 or so people registered. I'll lean on Chris to help me through that. And we'll use the participant panel just so we can run through that quickly. After board introductions, saying hello to you all, I want to walk everyone through chapter updates, just high level state of our chapter. From there, walk you through some of our national events coming up for ACT National, as well as what we have planned for this year for the Midwest. I'll turn it over to Chris to talk to you about some very cool chapter opportunities on the scholarship side. Kelly, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to her to walk you through some high-level findings from the recent chapter survey, and more importantly, action items for all of us leaving that survey. And then I'll turn it over to Elizabeth for a few minutes to walk us through Connect and making sure that we're signed up, but more importantly, receiving the notifications for activity on that communication board. And then if time permits, queue up a quick discussion topic at the end for all of us. Mind you, today was really designed to be information driven. With all future events, the board and I are committed to making sure we're driving towards collaboration, discussion. So with that, we'll bear with us. There'll be a lot of information coming your way. So let me pull up my screen real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
There it is.
Perfect. Thanks, Elizabeth. All right, that's the agenda I stated earlier. So again, quick introductions. I'm sure you've seen our newsletter. You know the board pretty well by now, so we'll run through it pretty quickly. Again, Kevin Chow. I'm with Commute with Enterprise based out of St. Louis. I've been with the company and in the TDM space for over 18 years. My current role is sales director over the Midwest. And I've been involved with ACT Midwest since moving here to St. Louis. So I was formerly the vice president for a few years, and very thankful to be in the president position. Chris, you want to go next?
Sure, thanks, Kevin. Chris Bongiorno with Bongiorno Consulting. I've been with ACT for about 3 years. I'm brand new to the leadership here at ACT Midwest, and I've been in the TDM industry for just under 10 years. I'm located in Southwest Ohio in a little town called Yellow Springs. Noah?
Thanks, Chris. I'm Noah Fox. I'm your new secretary for the Midwest Group. Amongst many other things that I've done with my company, Enterprise Holdings, I've had the pleasure to start working with Kevin, and I think Hannah's on the call, so we do have a couple other folks from the same company represented. So happy to also represent the state of Michigan with a few other folks. It's been just a year that I've entered the TDM community as the group commute manager for all operations in the state of Michigan, and look forward to, like Kevin said, some collaboration and hopefully some really impactful events over the next year for our chapter. And I think that Kelly is next.
I'm Kelly Morrell with Metro Transit in Minneapolis, in St. Paul metro area. I've been the treasurer for a couple of years now. I can't remember how long, but we're getting there. I've been in TDM for about 8 years now, and I've been a member on and off with ACT for that amount of time.
Thanks, Kelly.
We'll go to Becky.
Great. Hi, all. Becky Alper with Move Minneapolis. I was president for 4 years, and I'm happy to now be immediate past president with the ACT Midwest chapter. I've been in TDM for a handful of years, and anyway, it's great to see you all here today. Thanks.
And I've got big smiles when I look at this board because the joke that we've had is for the Midwest chapter, we've been a very small but mighty board. It's always been Kelly, Becky, and I for the last couple of years. So having Chris and Noah join, we finally have a loaded team, and we're ready to bring a ton of value to you all. So thank you, board members. Let me go ahead and, Chris, if you don't mind helping me facilitate, but let's go around real quick. Again, 30 seconds. Name, where do you work? How long have you been in TDM? And anything ACT related, how long you've been a member, or even better, when was the last in-person ACT event that you attended?
We're going to try to do this alphabetical by last name. So Melissa, you're up first.
Sorry about that. My computer is on and off glitching out. So I just heard my name and I have no idea what you asked me to do.
Name, where you work, how long have you been in the TDM industry, and what was the last ACT event you attended?
Gotcha. Thank you. Sorry about that. It's been a constant struggle here for the last couple of days with my computer. Melissa Bannigan. I'm also known as Mo, so feel free to call me Mo. Let's see, Assistant Vice President for Commute with Enterprise on the sales side of the house, but been with the company for a total of 26 years. But I have the pleasure of working with Kevin and the other enterprise folks that are on this line as well. Let's see, I joined into the TDM arena right around 2016. And the last, I guess, in person, I can't even remember when that was. But Kevin, you can probably help me out with that one.
It was Seattle 2019. Oh,
there we go. There we go. Certainly have been a part of a lot of the forums and the conversations that we've been doing via Zoom calls ever since this lovely COVID land that we're in now today.
Thank you. I skipped over Serena. So Serena, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, so my name is Serena Anderson. I work for Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, been here for a little under a year here in Dayton, Ohio. I technically have worked in the TDM industry for as long as I've been here, but I've worked in the transportation world for years on and off doing various things. I'm new to ACT, so I joined, I started my position in the middle of the pandemic and joined ACT at that time. So I've never done an in-person event thus far. It's all been Zoom.
Well, welcome, Serena. I think I saw Adrienne.
Hi, everyone. My name's Adrienne Boyd. I work for Urban Trans North America. So we have offices in Atlanta and Denver and LA, but I'm in the Toronto office in Canada. So you have a couple Canadians on the call here. I joined ACT as a member just last year, mostly in the interest of getting my TDM CP, which I earned in the last sort of round. And I'm recognizing, a bunch of our study group folks on the call as well. So it's always nice to see some familiar faces. I've been in the TDM world for 6 years, a little bit with City of Toronto, and then mostly with Urban Trans, which has been great. So yeah, really great to meet you all and get a little bit more involved.
Thank you. Zaya, if I have that right?
Hi, yeah, Zia, actually.
Zia, my apologies.
No, that's fine. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I'm in Wisconsin. I am the TDM program manager at the Greater Madison MPO in Madison. And I started in this position at kind of mid-July 2019. And so that's kind of, I would say, how long I've officially been in TDM. I've also worked in transportation-related advocacy and public engagement roles, but sort of TDM in this way really since mid-2019. And the last event that I attended was also the forum at the end of 2019. And that's the only ACT event that I've attended, but it was great. Definitely recommend it if anyone hasn't been. It was very cool.
Thanks, Zia. And Michael. Michael Chung, if you're able to come off mute, or we'll move on. All right, we'll come back to you, Michael, if you get that figured out. Is Karen Clausen on? I don't see Karen's name on here. Hannah.
Yep. Hi, I'm Hannah Colbert with Enterprise. So I'm with Commute with Enterprise here in Michigan. I've been with Commute for the last 3.5 years. So part of TDM for the last 3.5 years, and then also part of ACT. Basically day one, they said sign up. So I did. And the last in-person conference was 2018 in California.
Thank you. And Pete.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Pete Costa. I'm the Urban Mobility Planning Manager at HNTB in Chicago, and I've been in TDM for probably 10 years or so, a little bit more, in various consultancies. I actually worked with Chris Bongiorno in the past. My last ACT event was the past conference in 2019 in New York City. So it was an excellent time.
Thanks, Pete. Elizabeth.
Hey everybody, I'm Elizabeth Denton. I work for ACT, and I've been in TDM actually for 9 years. This is also a COVID job I started last April. And the last ACT event I attended in person was the New York conference in 2019 as well.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Looks like John.
Is it John Gettings? Is that your?
That's right.
Hey.
And then Tim's up next.
My name is John Gettings. I work with Walker Consultants. I'm based out of our Indianapolis office. I'm in my 5th year with Walker, so that's my TDM experience. And the last event, I attended the Emerging Mobility Summit in Columbus, Ohio. I can't remember if that was 2018 or 2019, but that was the last one.
I think that was 2018. All right, Tim.
Okay, I'm Tim Grozakowski. I'm the retired member of ACT Midwest. I joined ACT in the 1990s. Amanda and I were trying to figure out what year because the records didn't go back that far, but whenever the conference in Houston was, I was at it. So I've worked in TDM almost 30 years. My last job was executive director of the TMA of Lake Cook up in Deerfield. I retired in October 2018, but they just called me back for a consulting contract. And my last in-person ACT event was New York in 2019.
Thanks,
Chris,
Tim.
I've been to Yellow Springs many times when I lived in Columbus. I know it.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tim. And we are on to Laura Henry.
Hi, everyone. I am Laura Henry. I'm with Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission. I work with Serena, located adjacent from Chris in Yellow Springs, but we are in Dayton, Ohio. And I've been in the TDM world for about 7 years. And forgive me, I cannot remember if the last ACT in person would have been Nashville or California. I think it was Nashville was the last one, and then California was before that, but I don't know. My years are merging into one great big year, so forgive me. But
thanks, Laura. Tina? I know Tina just jumped on, so if you're having trouble with audio, we'll come back to you. All right, Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Coy with the Peace Rideshare ride matching software for the suburban area of Chicagoland. But we actually do work with Indiana residents commuting to Chicagoland and Wisconsin residents coming in. And I've been doing this probably 5 years and a member of ACT just as long.
Thank you, Kim. And I don't see Mike Leffler. We're going to go to Micah McGinnis.
Yeah, hi, Mike McGinnis. I also am with Commute with Enterprise. I'm in Minnesota, so I handle our Minnesota area. Good to see some familiar faces on here. I'm also new to ACT, just joined about a month ago, so I've experienced some Zoom webinars, but nothing in person quite yet. So nice to virtually meet you all.
Thank you, Micah. I saw that Kim Moss had to step away, so we'll move on to, I think, Patty Olmsted, if I'm not skipping over anybody. Oh, wait, Kim's back. Kim, you want to go?
Very crazy. I have
That's okay.
a phone call. Kim Moss. I'm with the Ohio State University, and I've been in TDM about I think since our first transportation plan that we worked on, which was 2014-ish, 15. And I've been at the university a lot longer than that, but I'm in the planning department. So I work with different units and different projects. And the last ACT conference I attended was the wonderful one in New York.
All right, thanks, Kim. And to your neighbor, Patty.
Hi, guess I'll turn my video on. I'm Patty Olmsted from the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission, and I've been in TDM for, I'm just going on my 15th year. And I think the last ACT conference for me was New York.
Thank you, Patty. Scrambling through the list against our registration list, and I apologize if I'm skipping somebody, but it looks like Chris Simmons maybe next.
Sure, I'll pick up a baton. Chris Simmons with the Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority, otherwise known as the RIDE. My title is Business Services Program Manager, but that just means I do a whole bunch of stuff. I've been with TDM and ACT since 2004, so not nearly as long as Tim, but I'm up there with Patty, and been involved at the chapter board level, the state board, or the national board level. Stepped away in 2013 for a brief sojourn, but came back with this position that I've been in for about the last 4 years now. Last ACT event for me would have been New Orleans in person. I don't get to travel much these days, so that was 17 maybe.
All right, thanks, Chris. It looks like we have two more, Kristen and then Kim.
Hey there, Kristen Slayton with AECom. I live and work in Cincinnati, but work across our national practice. So normally travel around quite a bit to our different projects around the country. I have been with the company and in TDM for just over 20 years now. A member of ACT for pretty much most of that time. I think my last in-person would have been New York. Also have the opportunity to serve currently on the ACT National Board and recently served on the TDMCP, the Board of Trustees for the new certification.
Great, thanks, Kristen. And Kim, I think you're
Hi,
last.
everyone. Sure, yeah, thank you. 3 Kims in a session. You guys got me on my toes. Kim Stemschein here. I work for the City of Toronto, and I'm working on a program called Smart Commute. I work alongside Adrian Boyd, so it's nice to see a familiar face. Just joined ACT in the spring or summer. And I'm really excited to say that I'm serving on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Got accepted to that not too long ago. For ACT, I should clarify.
Great, thank you. And did we forget anybody? It looks like I got everybody on the list, but chime in if you were skipped.
Hey, it's Michael Chung. Sorry,
Hi,
I
Michael.
had some audio issues there. I am from the City of Toronto as well. Work with Kim on the Smart Commute program. We're a program of the City of Toronto. And I've been in the TDM industry for 6 years, 5 or 6 years, and ACT, I think, a couple of years. Last conference was in beautiful New York City. And it's interesting that in Toronto, we would never consider ourselves like Midwest of Canada, but very, very interesting and glad to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Chris, thank you. Half the battle is getting to 23 introductions, and you executed that superbly. Thanks, everyone. What I'll do next is I will, again, walk you through just who we are, where we stand right now from a membership standpoint. I want to walk you through some of the upcoming events, and then I'll turn it over to Chris to talk about some unique chapter opportunities. So who are we? We are 93 members representing 8 of our 12 states. Our chapter, very expansive, as you can imagine. We don't have a whole lot of representation in the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Kansas. But outside of that, pretty evenly distributed. You can see there just on my quick chart there, just a breakdown of our percentage of members. So pretty evenly spread out through the Midwest. Shame on me. We do have quite a few members from Canada that I did not include, and I promise you I will going forward. But we do have a good handful of Canadian ACT members as part of the Midwest, and we absolutely welcome you as part of our chapter members. And then proud to say we've got 3 of our 4 TDM certified professionals on the call today. This is the first class of 2020, if you will. Chris, our VP, Adrian, and Kristen, one of my coworkers, Cheryl, with Commute with Enterprise here in St. Louis as well. So on behalf of the Midwest chapter, congratulations. Thank you for being at the forefront of this. And more than anything, we want to push all of our members towards signing up and becoming TDM CPs within our space. So thank you for that. What's upcoming for 2021? Well, you might have seen an email this morning, Future of Commuting Summit. This is a pivot from the Emerging Mobility Summit, which typically takes place in spring. So that's happening April 27th. You can see from the email for all of us members, it's a nominal registration fee. It's $25. We're all very excited about it because it's another opportunity for us to, again, really start, coming together and discussing what the future of commuting looks like. I know that's one of the topics that we definitely saw on the member survey as well. So that's happening April 27th. For those who joined a call a little bit earlier, you heard Elizabeth talk about the international conference, which is taking place in person at Walt Disney World Resorts, August 1st to 4th. I know it's still a long ways away. ACT, knowing that it's kind of a weird year and many of us are still up in the air or maybe not quite approved for travel yet. Knowing that's the case, there are some early bird registration opportunities. Chris will tell you a little bit more about scholarships as well. We of course want to encourage as many attendees as possible, knowing that unlike New York, we're pretty much expecting this to be kind of a smaller attendee list versus a normal conference. And then after the international conference, we of course have the TDM forum in fall. More specifically on the Midwest chapter, this is where your board leaders and I, we really put our heads together to figure out what can we do to really drive that discussion and engagement with all of you, right? All of our members. While we are, 93 strong, it is pretty spread out. And so some of the things we're incorporating this year, Serena, I know you mentioned you're pretty new. We want to do a new member welcome in April. And after that, develop a cadence, maybe every quarter to do just a get to know you for all of our new members. We, of course, host quarterly calls with all of our general membership meetings. So Q2, we plan to do that in May. Q3, we typically do that in person at the international conference. Again, a little bit up in the air depending on who attends this year, but we'll find a way to incorporate both virtual attendees and potentially folks in person. And then Q4 will be at the end of the year. And one of the things we've talked about is incorporating a end of year holiday party. Some of the other things that we are working on, and this is where we can use your help with ideas, even helping to moderate and drive some of these activities. And a lot of these came from chapter leader calls with Elizabeth hosting. We want to do a transit trivia, of course, have happy hours where we still talk work, but have an opportunity to really get to know each other. And then I think most important to me and what we gleaned from the surveys is really specific TDM topic roundtables. Conversations that are driven by our local representation. So for example, what's happening in Columbus, what's happening in the Cleveland region, or for me, how do I drive conversations for St. Louis and Kansas City? That's really what we want to do this year, which is really drive relevant topics to each of our respective areas. With that, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about scholarships opportunities for events.
Great, thanks, Kevin. So those of you who've been with the Midwest chapter for a couple of years probably know that we like to offer scholarships to a limited number of participants in the national events. I was lucky enough to get one of the scholarships in 2019 to go to the national conference, or the international conference, I should say, in New York. It was my first big event with ACT, and it helped make it affordable to me. So we as a chapter leadership group have decided and budgeted the largest portion of our budget to go towards scholarship opportunities for our members to go to those national events. So we'll have a limited number. We may also have some smaller scholarships available for things like that Future of Commuting Summit and the TDM Forum, but really the focus is on getting people to that in-person conference where you get to meet people and attend that really immersive experience. Beyond that, we have made over the years a number of smaller dollar amounts available for people that want to host local get-to-know-you events, local networking events, coffee with a colleague, things like that. If you're interested in that opportunity, what that might look like for you, reach out to me or to Kelly. We can help walk you through what the opportunities might be there. And then this is new for 2021. We're looking to sponsor up to 4 events at about $250 per event. If you want to put together a webinar or some sort of panel that increases the visibility of ACT locally, but it can also be attractive to the ACT membership nationwide. We want to, as ACT Midwest, help you put that on and help sponsor it, cover some of your costs. So it can cover things like speaker fees, webinar hosting, space rental, materials, et cetera. But we do require that it's open for registration to all ACT members, and that non-members should be invited, but will most likely be asked to pay some sort of registration fee, so that we're communicating that there's a value of ACT membership, and that if you join, you can attend this event for free. So again, reach out to me or to Kelly if you want more information on any of these opportunities, and hopefully you'll find them valuable again this year. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. And I do urge everyone, please, please, please take advantage, especially on the international conference side. It could be what puts it over the top for you to be able to attend, which is a scholarship piece from a financial aspect. And then the local event sponsorships, I know we've been talking about this for years. We just haven't had a lot of members take advantage of it. We really encourage you to do so, especially when it comes to coming together with members in your area. It's very unlikely for all of us in the Midwest to meet up, right? But if there's an opportunity to host an event in Kansas City, an event to host an event in Indianapolis, please let us help support that cause. And more than anything, we'll use it as an opportunity, one, to keep you all engaged, but two, maybe we can recruit some additional Midwest members because of that event as well.
And Kevin and Chris, Kelly and Noah, let me just jump in real quick there, because you, Kevin, I think you've heard this from me before. In Chicago, and I don't know if it's going to be virtual or in person this year based on this year, but there's a Transport Chicago, and Transport Chicago gets about 200 attendees in the transportation world, and they have booth space, and it would be a good way to get people interested in ACT Midwest.
Tim, great idea. And I know you've pushed us towards that, those opportunities to be more engaged with the Chicago market. And we'll love to look into Transport Chicago.
And my friend at UIC Transportation School is on the committee. So he said, I said, I'm going to be on this call today. He will let me know, if they're going to be in person or virtual. Still to be determined. Usually held in June. Last year, I think they pushed it back to October, and it was virtual. So anybody's guess this year.
Thanks, Tim. And timing is great. Elizabeth, she can attest to this, but after Walt Disney World Resort, the ACT International Conference 2022 will take place in Chicago. So now is a great time to really jump into that market and make it this fun. Thanks, Tim. All right, with that, I'm going to queue up Kelly. Kelly, thank you so much for all your hard work on this Midwest chapter survey. Very excited that nearly half of our members took the survey. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly with just some very high level info that we gathered, as well as some key takeaways.
Yeah, thanks everybody. First, I want to echo what Kevin said. Thank you so much for those of you that took the time to fill it out. It really helps when people kind of give us feedback. So we had it open for about half of February, and again, my apologies to our Canadian friends. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. We're the Canada of the United States without the universal health care. So I really feel bad about it. We will make sure we do not forget again. So we asked some kind of logistical questions. What kind of work do you do? Where do you work? How long you've been a member? Just a couple of things I wanted to point out. A lot of at least the people that responded have only been members for 3 years or less, which I think is really great. I think it's great that we've got new people coming in. That's okay, Zia. So I think that gives us a lot of opportunities. And then we ask the question, because we're so spread out, what can we do as a Midwest chapter board to like serve you better? And the big things that came up are that people just want more opportunities to kind of dig into the challenges, issues, and best practices that are unique to the Midwest. I think most of us are working in metro regions where there's not a ton of regulation around TDM, and so that creates its own set of challenges. Members wanted more conversations with other TDM professionals in other areas and states so that they can, again, compare best practices. What works in Chicago might work in Minneapolis or might work in Madison. And then similarly, people also really wanted to connect with people in their own area. The last question we asked, what are the most pressing issues for you and your work? Inclusivity and equity came up a lot. Either people are managing programs where that's what they're trying to do is serve low-income folks or those who are disabled or elderly in their mobility needs, or just in general, like how, the pandemic has really blown things up for people. So how can we reimagine the way that we deliver our services when maybe that antiquated idea of the, white upper middle class person coming from the suburbs between 9 and 5 is not really the only way that we can serve, not the only folks we should be serving. So that came up. A lot of people concerned about how we stay engaged and keep our programs going during the pandemic. And then how do we keep TDM relevant as we head out of this we get down this really long tunnel to the light at the end. So that's post-COVID. And then measuring the impact of TDM strategies. How do we do better to measure what we're doing, the impacts of it, and then use that to be more effective and get more resources and maximize the limited resources we have. So one thing I just want to take away is that we'd love to do all these things. We want these things to happen. I just want to make it really clear to everyone, I hate to be a Debbie Downer. Kevin, Chris, myself, and Noah, we aren't any less busy than anyone else. And so we're really doing the best we can as board members to keep people engaged. But in order to be effective, we need everybody. Whether it's you can host, or even if you send us an idea of like, somebody said, I work at a university. I'd really like to connect with other university TDM folks. That's a start for us. We could use some more help with the logistics. So I just want to kind of plant that seed for everybody. If we all put a little bit in and, say that we're going to facilitate one event and we can help with deciding helping what those events are, we can certainly provide funding. But if we all put a little bit in, it doesn't make it too onerous for anybody. So that's all I had to say about that. Thanks.
Thanks, Kelly. And again, excited about the survey, really good response rate. We'll have just kind of a high level takeaway that we'll send out to the entire chapter. We have plans to ensure we have ongoing surveys to get a really good pulse on what's happening with you and your market. And you couldn't have said it better, Kelly. I mean, at the end of the day, we get out of it what we put in. And again, we're 93 members strong. So let's really leverage that and make sure that we're driving conversations, especially at the local levels. Great news is on the board, you've got a few of us representing a few states, but outside of that, we still have a lot more coverage. And so leaning on you to really be that driver of the conversation will be key. So we're here to help you, but we do need you to take the reins a little bit and let us know if we can help you financially as well. That's one of the things that Chris had mentioned earlier. Thanks, Kelly. All right, so with that, I am going to turn it over to Elizabeth Denton. Why? Well, it's all about connect. I know that we've been pushing this at the national level. I think there's a lot of opportunities for us at the chapter level to continue pushing connect. This really is that forum and tool we've all been asking for as ACT members to be able to really communicate effectively with one another. So with that, couple stats before I turn it over to Elizabeth, we pulled the data. 27 of our 93 members have signed up to receive email notifications, something simple as a daily email or real-time email. Just click on the options, which Elizabeth will show you, but we want to drive that towards 100. Yes, I know we're all flooded with emails, but there's a great opportunity to just be in the know. And like the rest of us board members, we take a glance at it. If it's something that's pertinent to us, we jump in. If it isn't, that's okay. Let's see what the next topic is. Outside of that, obviously, we want you to be part of the Midwest chapter community and its communications, but there's a ton of other relevant communities as well. So with that, Elizabeth, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Fantastic. Let's see, I'm going to share my screen because I want to walk you all through this. It's easier for everybody to understand when you can see it. And I just think it makes it a lot easier there. So let's see. Now I just have to find it. Hang on. Okay. So communication is kind of the big theme of the meeting today, I think. And I'm pleased that everybody wants to communicate because that's exactly what this Connect platform is for. So I'm going to walk you from the very beginning all the way through. So we're going to start on the ACT homepage, and I have to move my people over here. Okay, so in the Programs and Events tab, over on the far side, you'll see the Connect Online Forum. There's a page that is about Connect. It gives you a brief rundown of what it is. There's a couple little videos that I made to help people figure it out, but I'm giving you a personalized tutorial today, so you don't need to, I mean, you certainly go in and watch the videos if you want, but they're not spectacular. So, and then the second link here is Visit Connect. So when you click on that, it's going to take you to this other page. It looks spectacular, very happy about it. It's kind of a cross between a TDM listserv and Facebook. And you'll see there's some headers across the top with some upcoming events and a couple of topics here, but this is the important thing, right? Log in to see the information. So when you go to sign in this upper right-hand corner, don't get confused because it's going to take you back to the ACT website. So you just need to log, I have to move the screen. You just have to log into the ACT website, and then it's going to return you to Connect. And then you'll be able to see everything. Oh, look, here we are. Okay, so Kevin mentioned the Midwest chapter community. There's a bunch of communities. I apologize, I have the admin, so I'm in every community. So yours will look a little bit different, but you want to find the Midwest chapter. So this is the place where anybody who is a member of the Midwest chapter is automatically eligible to be in this. But there's a couple of different things that need to happen before you automatically join it. And the main thing is when you go to the top here where it says Midwest chapter, and then there's a button that says settings, the email notifications is the one that you need to check and make sure that it's set up for either real-time or daily digest. The default is no email. So if you don't update this, you'll never get an email telling you what conversations have gone on. I have mine set at real time. I like to see the conversations as they are happening in real time. You can also select daily digest, which is probably going to be more manageable for us over time as there's so many conversations going on. And that's exactly what that sounds like. Once a day, you get a summary of the discussions that have happened. So pick your poison. And then once you've done that, you can go in and scroll through the discussion post. You can see that the latest conversation was about AVs and EVs. You can scroll just on the chapter homepage here and see members and most active members. You can click on the discussion tab, and that'll just take you to a list of all of the discussions. This is actually really a great way to figure out what's going on because you can see the topics and then you can click specifically on whichever topic you're interested in. There's a library. There's not a lot of documents that have been uploaded yet. Oh, okay. Becky posted about a webinar that she had recently. And then there's a member list. And you can send an invitation to somebody. And so then you'll be connected through this platform, again, kind of a little bit like Facebook, but you can see who all is in here. When you go to your profile, it'll show you who you've connected to. I encourage everyone to put a photo on there. I think that's really nice so that you can see who you're talking to or connected with. You can see your connections in this section. You can put your, education and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Then there's one other chapter that you should definitely be a part of, and it is the TDM Conversations. And this is the one that everybody is a part of. Same thing, you go into this, click on your settings, check your email notification settings, change it to whichever version you want. And it's the same thing. You can see all the different discussions that are going on. You can see the library topics and so on. So there's a bunch of things. Oh, no. Yes, gold level. That's right. So regarding the library, Becky, your question, let me go back to the community and just walk you through that. So there's a couple of things that are kind of quirky about this site. And one of them is the library. So when you upload a document, it automatically gets tagged for the library. So you're the only person who's uploaded a document so far. So it got tagged in the library. Eventually, there will be a lot of documents and we'll have folders for them. Right now, there's only one that's Midwest chapter. As you guys want topics, let me know and I'll create the folders. I think I'm the only one who can do that. So if you want, you know, documents for van pooling, or if you want, I don't even know, but let me know and I can set that up for you. The other thing that's kind of quirky about it is events. So I'm the only person who can add events, but in this platform, however, I can add them, but it doesn't send you an alert. So I encourage everyone to post your events in the discussions. And this is a good opportunity for you if you are doing a chapter, your organization is doing an event rather, post it in a discussion and just say, just like Becky did, this is perfect. Hey, we have a webinar coming up. Please join us. Then everybody will get that notification. And this is a great way for you guys to see who's doing what in different areas. So Toronto people, if you guys have a webinar coming up that you think would be of interest, go ahead and post it in here. And that's perfect because then everybody can attend and find out what you guys are doing there. Okay, so that's a super quick overview. Any questions? Does that make sense? I know it's a lot.
So we have to subscribe to each group or community individually, correct?
That's correct. Yep. And I don't have it on hand at the moment, but what I can do is I did create a SurveyMonkey link that I'll drop in the chat. If you want me to sign you up for those communities, I'm happy to do it for you if that's easier. And then once you see your first email pop in your inbox and you click on the link, it'll take you to it. Once you start seeing what it is, I think it'll make more sense. But either way, I'm perfectly happy to, you guys can, update your own, or I can do it for you. I've seen a ton of really great conversations going on in the different communities. So I think this is perfect for you guys with such a large spread out chapter that you can log in once and have all kinds of conversations with different people. So it really fulfills that interest in communicating with each other. Okay.
Elizabeth, is this the right link for the SurveyMonkey link?
Yep. Do you want to put that in the chat so people can access it? Or I can do it if.
Yeah, if you can. Thank you.
Okay.
So action item for all of you right after this call, jump into Connect, make sure you're connected, set your notifications. But if you want, you can just fill out the survey and Elizabeth and team will be happy to do it for you. Thank you. All right, so we've got about 14 minutes left. We won't be able to get into in-depth conversation with all, but I did want to queue up just a quick topic that came across my plate as we were planning for this. Of course, we're talking a lot about COVID and what things look like over the next few months as we head into summer and fall. And so while we won't be able to get to 23 of you today, I'd love to just, again, kind of roundtable real quickly what you're hearing about return to work in your market. What are some of the TDM plans? What are you doing to prepare at your organization, be it a TDM organization, an MPO, or maybe as a service provider? So Chris, I know you're the keeper of lists, but I'm actually going to pick on Chris Simmons, who we've been working together on in Ann Arbor on bringing the university back. Chris, what you got going on?
So a couple of things, and I hope everybody can hear me. I'm having to transition to school pickup, one of the joys of work from home. The University of Michigan may and I have emphasized may, be going back to in-person classes this August. And so our community is revolving around that potential. And so we're returning to 100% of the bus system service levels. We're looking at Vanpool as an option for those long haul commuter routes that will not be continuing. And then starting to rework our TDM programming to go, how do you help people transition to feel comfortable sharing spaces with others when we haven't been doing it for almost a year and a half? And a lot of unknowns beyond that. But if the vaccine distribution remains on point, and we have no reason to believe it will not, we're at least looking at that as an opportunity to start to do programming around shared spaces and talking about it as sharing space with others as the way we might move forward for at least Ann Arbor and potentially for the Southeast Michigan area as well.
Great. Thanks, Chris. I can see University of Michigan really being the anchor there. And the way they go, I'm sure will drive a lot of the conversations in Ann Arbor. Thanks, Chris. Kim, I know you had reached out to me. What's going on in Chicago and kind of the return to work scene? Kim Coy.
What's going on in Chicago? Well, I'm not 100% sure that we have solid answers. It seems like, because I'm at Pace Bus, the big focus is on vaccinating the drivers, and the schools might be going to a hybrid. So we have bus routes that serve the schools, and we already have the equipment spread out for social distancing. So there's kind of a question of how do we serve these new routing or more longer times. And so Pace is very focused on the bus issues right now. And the van pooling has quieted down due to the telework. And a lot of the employers are saying maybe August, we don't know, maybe next year. I have not heard solid dates. Tim might know some dates, but I haven't heard any.
And yeah, Kevin and Kim, I'll jump in on that. So my old job just called me back to help them out on issues like that. And one of the things we're trying to do, and if anybody has a survey like this, please send it my way, is to talk to the major companies, is to find out, most of them are working from home or, remote, that type of thing. But we're trying to find out when are they going back so we can work with Pace to find out when we should reestablish shuttle service.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be Eric. But yeah, that's a good question. It might be more of an on-demand style, like 2 days in, 3 days telework.
Yeah. And that's the big issue right now, is finding out from the member companies, what is their setup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, that's not entirely clear yet. And then our van pool program, we own the vans, and we have some methods that are from the 1990s, and we're looking to modernize that by online payment and different things. So our program, like, this is sort of a quiet time, so it's a good time to bring up the program up to speed. So there's some focus there on getting that up and running better, smoother customer service experience. And then in the region, there's a Ventra trip planner that's making us think about how do we connect van pools to the trip planner. That hasn't been done yet, and I don't think anywhere in the nation. So that's kind of a interesting thought in terms of tech. What software will work better with Ventra, our fare payment system.
Thanks for the update, Kim and Tim.
Okay.
I'm going to jump over to Serena. I know you're a new member, but you're representing the Miami Valley region of Ohio. What are you seeing and hearing in your market?
I really wish that Laura was on right now, but she's going to jump off early. She's our van pool person. I mostly work with a special program focused on seniors and individuals with disabilities. And so my focus is so different than probably many of the folks that are on the line. My challenges that I've had experience personally with the programs I'm running is, especially now in recent times, is getting the vaccination distributed for those who don't have transportation or can't drive. And so we've been looking at ways that we can leverage some of our funding pools to create like a vaccination pool, so to speak, so that you know, the different transit agencies within our MPO, within our metropolitan planning area, could work together to work with the health departments to develop transportation sources, you know, for people who need access to that. So that's one of the things. The other kind of challenges that I see has been with access to food. You know, we would like to look into options where we could maybe create a shuttle for food access, especially for seniors. We've been very creative. A lot of our partners and a lot of the organizations that we work with have been very creative with the resources they have to use it to solve some of the needs for those who have the least of access. And you know, they've been working to distribute meals, like for Meals on Wheels programs. And, you know, they do all kinds of clever things during this time. But I think for the population that I work with, they're all mostly have some kind of disability or mobility challenge. And so, and they're the most vulnerable populations. And so a lot of it's very challenging because sometimes those individuals can't get on a vehicle with lots of other folks around them because of their medical conditions or their vulnerability issues. So I know with Laura, with our agency, she's been really working with our VAMP pool program and kind of revamping it with since the pandemic has kicked in, you know, everybody is revamping their VAMP pool programs, and I wish I could speak to it, but I don't want to say the wrong things because it's her program. But that's, my challenges are a little unique, I think, just because of the population I work with.
Thanks, Sarita.
Thank you.
With that, I'm going to pick our Midwest neighbors to the north. Michael Chung, what's going on in your world? You still on with us, Michael?
Man, my volume, this computer is killing me. Hey everyone, I'm back, I guess. We're up here in snowy Canada, Toronto. It's actually quite warm for us. I think we're warmer. No, I think Texas is bounced back now. So we were warmer than Texas a few weeks ago. We are, it's a Smart Community program. We're a City of Toronto program. And we also hire a consultant to run our TMAs in the city. So as Adrian from Urban Trans has alluded, Adrian is a good friend of mine, and we work together to deliver some of our services in the City of Toronto. We also, the Smart Community brand is also in other regions in the suburbs. We're right downtown, so we serve our clients here. And right now, previously our program was led by our transit regional authority, Metrolinx, but 2 years ago, a conservative government got voted in and they axed our program within the province. So right now we're doing a big transition into Smart Commute 3.0. So a lot of our work right now is figuring out the details of that. So we're getting a new ride matching tool, for example, where COVID has also thrown a wrench into everything. So we're kind of adapting our programming or have adapted our programming to COVID. So a lot of work right now is based off of recovery. And I think maybe we can also bring Kim into this because Kim is involved with, she's kind of dedicated, as a dedicated person to deliver our programs to City of Toronto staff, which correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, I think we have a couple of thousand full-time employees, and she's been very innovative in terms of like the things that she delivers. So maybe I'll pass it on to Kim to kind of discuss what she's up to.
That's really kind, Michael. Thanks for that. Yeah, we have at the City of Toronto, we have 35,000 City of Toronto staff, full and part-time. But I mainly, I guess I'm open to working with anyone to adopt sustainable transportation practices. And it's open to all City of Toronto staff, but I've been doing monthly webinars on different topics. The pandemic has allowed me to pivot to all things, I say this a lot, but all things mobility. So I'm not just focusing on commuting to and from work, which was our original outlook of the program. So it's been kind of fun. We had just this past month, we had a school crossing guard in his 30s chat to us, to my network of Smart Commute champions, about the observations on the job. It was a really nice webinar, very insightful.
Thanks, Kim. With that, again, I think you can all hear it. While we have some perceived challenges of geography, I think that really is a strength of the Midwest chapter, which is really being able to hear from all of you and all the different things you have going on in each of your markets, and allowing us to learn from that and hopefully apply some of those best practices. So with that, again, on behalf of the chapter board, I thank you. It all starts and begin with, again, our opportunities to engage with one another. So please stay engaged, drive conversations, volunteer. We can always use volunteers, especially at the local event level. And if you have any questions at all, Chris, Noah, Kelly, Becky, myself, we're here as a resource to you. Thank you. And we look forward to getting together again at the next chapter event. Thanks, everyone.